Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renae Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans behind a band that's been making music for over 30 years. And of course, if you've been making music for over 30 years, you have a following, because without a following, you don't last 30 years. So Dave Matthews Band has quite the following. I know that Dave laughs about saying he only has 30,000 fans, but they all follow him to every show. And while that might be true, are we ever really going to have clarification? Should there be a DMB fan poll? I don't know. How many fans are there? I don't know, but I am on a journey to collect as many fan stories as I can so that we can document the difference that this music has made in so many of our lives. Where did we find Dave Matthews Band? When did we find Dave Matthews Band? And why in the world are we still listening to it after all these years? So every episode, I have a fan of Dave Matthews Band come on the show to share their journey. And whether it's been 5 years, 1 year, or 34 years. I met a guy the other day that had just met the band 3 years ago. So there are just every kind of fan. And today is no exception. I have a fan of the Dave Matthews Band on the show to tell us her journey. So tell us who you are, where you are, and tell us something cool about you.
My name is Becky Petragala. I'm located in upstate New York. I live an hour south of Syracuse in Binghamton, New York, and I am a clinical social worker. I work primarily with adult acute psychiatric inpatient and drug and alcohol addiction.
Awesome. I love your story already. Just that little bit about you. I was a nurse for 15 years. I've changed my career now to podcasting, which is a weird change of events from nurse to podcaster. But you know what? I'm willing to be one of the first to do it. So here we go. But of course, I worked in mental health many years. Mental health is such a passion of mine. I talk about it daily because of this music that we're going to talk about and how music really is a tool in saving lives. And so I'm so excited to hear your journey. What does life look like on a daily basis? Like any pets, any things you like to do outside of seeing Dave?
I have a 10-year-old little boy, so he is my daily, my everything, my
Yes.
why.
Every second. Yeah.
So lots of baseball. And I do have a little dog. His name's Waylon, and he's like a terrier Shih Tzu mix.
He sounds like a country music singer. Waylon Jennings. Wasn't that the name? Waylon Jennings?
His shelter name was Elton, which didn't really seem to fit him, so renamed him to Waylon.
He was going to be music one way or the other, right? He was going to go the Elton way.
Sure. Yeah.
That's so funny, which is a good thing because your household loves music.
Yes.
So it all worked out. So tell us, this is the magic question that everyone answers, and you knew it was coming. Yeah. Can you remember a time in your life that you first heard about or heard the music of Dave Matthews Band?
Yeah. We're going to take it back to 1995. So.
Wow. Yes. You've had a long journey then.
Yeah. So the summer before my 8th grade school year, back when MTV played music videos,
I wish for those days.
I don't know if anybody remembers, but they used to have these things called buzz clips, and they would show like new artists, like a little vignette of their video, and then they would later play it sometimes. They had the buzz clip for What Would You Say? And I would see it and be like, okay, skip. But it started to play over and over. And it was right around the time that Blues Traveler, I think, had Hook or Runaround as their buzz clip too. And I was kind of getting the two bands confused at first. And then, so they had What Would You Say? And then I think Ants Marching came out after that. But what really got me into the band was back when I was younger, they had like 17 magazine and YM, and they used to have
forgot about those too.
Advertisements in the magazine where you could send away for like 10 CDs for a penny.
Yeah. Oh yes, like Columbia or BMG or what?
Yes. So I asked my mom if I could do it, and she's like, Absolutely not,
No.
and so I did it anyways,
Of course, we all did.
and one of the CDs that I ordered was Under the Table and Dreaming. So, it was, like, fall of '95, and I got my 10 CDs in the mail that I wasn't supposed to get, and I opened Under the Table and Dreaming and put it in my CD player, and it wasn't till track number 3, Satellite, where I was like, "Okay, alright, what's this? What's this?"
Yeah.
Then really started listening to the album, and then shortly after me getting that, Crush came out, in the same school year for me. So 8th grade, Crash came out, and that's, like, when it just exploded for me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then so that was going into high school, and then, freshman year of high school, they played my hometown. They came to our arena here. So I got to see them for the first time in 1996 as a freshman.
So how old were you then?
I
Okay, so a
I was,
freshman.
like, 14.
Okay, so what's the scenario? Like, you have to ask your mom and dad,
Yeah,
of course, right? So were they like, "What? No," I mean, were you a concert goer
I
before
was,
this or
I had just gotten
yeah,
into it, like, the year prior, so
okay.
Green Day had played here, so my parents let me go
Hell
into Green
yeah.
Day, but they came with me.
Yes.
So this
Oh, well,
was, like
that's okay.
yeah, so this was, like, my first I can go with my friends. So I went
Oh
with a
my
couple
god.
friends from school to see them, and then I went through the rest of high school. I didn't see them again. And then I went off to college, still obsessed. I mean, by this time we had gotten Before These Crowded Streets. So went off to college and what was it? February of my freshman year of college, Every Day came out. My roommate in college hated the Dave Matthews Band. So she was really big into like rave
No.
music and techno. And
Sure.
then my whole
Yeah.
side of the room was just Dave. Everything was Dave.
Did you have posters and
Everything,
everything?
everything, and our campus bookstore had tons of them, so I really lucked out. My dad used to send me, like, an allowance to school. I said, "Dad, Dave Matthews is coming to Buffalo. Can you, instead of sending me my allowance this month, can you buy me tickets to see him in Buffalo for the Everyday tour?" So he did.
I know the results of the story with your dad. I know he did it, so we're heading into our second show.
Yes.
But let's go back to the first show because like you said, your parents dropped you off, you were with a group of friends. And did you know what to expect?
No.
Because the only reason I ask that is because you know that the albums are so very different than
Mhm.
hearing them live. When did you realize that? Did you already know that? And like take me back to that day and kind of tell me some things that you remember if you do remember anything.
I don't remember a ton. I remember, our arena is very tiny. It only seats, like, 3,000 people, so this was a very intimate
Holy.
show. Yeah, I
Awesome.
mean, they had the floor open, and then they had the seats. At the time, we only had Under the Table and Dreaming, and I think they had just started to play some stuff from Crash, because it was, like, still for the Crash tour.
Right.
So, I was lucky, like, I knew every single song that they played. I remember it being incredibly hot in there. Like, our school newspaper did
Oof.
an article on it and of how hot it was in the building. I was so young, so it wasn't like what I experience now or what I experienced later.
Of
Just
course.
quick, mom and dad drop you off, and then you be right back here when we come get you.
Right.
Compared to the other concert I had only gone to, I'd only seen Green Day, so there was no mosh pit, there's no, like,
Right, like day and night,
yeah.
but still
Yeah,
fabulous.
yeah, it was great to hear the songs I was hearing on CD and see them live, but it
Yeah.
it didn't hit me yet. Like, it was just I think it was more, "My gosh, I get to be without my parents and do something cool,"
Oh,
you know?
yeah, totally about that, and, like, checking out, I don't know, the boyfriend situation, but, like, boys and all the drama that comes with being
Yeah,
that
yeah,
age, it's
yeah.
yeah, no, I it's hard to remember those times, and I hate saying that because we're not that old, but are we? I don't know the answer to that. If we can't remember parts of our lives, what's happening?
You know?
So freshman year of
Yeah.
college, I'm sure your dad said, "Okay, that seems like an even trade." He
Yeah,
got you
yep,
tickets.
so
And where was the show again?
Buffalo at Ralph
Buffalo?
Wilson Stadium.
Okay,
So I was going to
okay,
school in Western New York for college. Buffalo's like 3 hours from where I live. So
okay.
I went to see the Everyday Tour with Macy Gray opening and the Lovely Ladies. So that show
Oh,
is where
wow.
it really kind of sunk in like, okay, now we have Before These Crowded Streets, we have Crash, we have Everyday, and then we also had the Lily White sessions going on. So
Ooh,
way more,
such a good
yeah,
time.
way more catalog. Now is like, okay, now I can go. And I was still underage, but still got to do the tailgating scene and get there early
Yeah.
and kind of really see like what it's about and way more appreciation for them than I had prior.
S Right, right. So where did you even hear that there would be tailgating? I often think about things like that because in that time frame, technology was so very different than
No,
it is now, right? I mean,
it was like Ants wasn't even out yet, I don't think.
it was just
Y
it was just a different
Yeah, because
world, a planet that we were living on.
antsmarching.org wasn't even out yet, I don't think. This was 2001, so it was, like, a lot of AOL chat rooms, I think, and
Oh,
instant
wow.
messenger and just knowing other people at my school, because a lot of
Oh,
us from my
yeah.
dorm went, and, like, they had seen him at Darien Lake, and then parts of Rochester, Albany. I went with people that were older than me in college, so they had known, like, what the tailgating scene was like. Plus, it's the
Yeah,
Buffalo Bills
yeah.
stadium, so
Well, yeah, yeah. Tailgating was gonna be a thing. So do you remember more about that show? Was there any you said, of course, it all kinda clicked a little more in show 2, but did you have the knowledge yet that, like, "Whoa, hey, Satellite sounds completely different when they're playing it when I'm here versus when I go back
oh,
home,"
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
'cause I had ho Listener Supported was one of my favorite albums, so, like, hearing that and then, Luther College,
gosh, yeah.
gosh, some of the live tracks, but there wasn't really that many live tracks back then,
Right, we
yeah.
were in the
But
beginning.
this was also back when people were bootlegging and downloading and, there were songs that I had burned on CDs that are still not on albums, so I was able to hear, what he sounds like from getting, stuff off of Napster and Winamp, and I'm really
Right,
dating
right.
myself here.
No, we're all in the same boat. I mean, I think I might be a little older than you, so I don't know, but it just seems so weird to talk about that time. Like, I remember it, and it was obviously so normal at that time, but now looking back, you're like, "Wow, we were really pioneers."
Yeah.
Like, we were getting through some stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and then, I moved away that fall to start an internship at Disney World. So, when I was down there,
Yeah.
you have no access to, like, a vehicle really, and they're only paying us, like, $5 an hour, so I didn't see, a concert until, like, the following Christmas.
Oh,
December of
wow.
'02 was my next day of show after that, but kept listening and then met new people down in
Sure.
Disney that liked him, and it was cool, like, seeing people down there with posters in their room and stuff. Because as popular as this band is, out of all my friends, I'm the only one that likes them. So,
I am too.
yeah, it was hard, like, all my like, this was back when, like, boy bands and
Hell yeah. Was
yeah,
this, like, during the Backstreet Boy what else what was big
NSYNC,
going on in those
Street
years?
Boys, Shanti,
Yes.
Nelly, Ja Rule, and then there's
Hell yeah.
me
Oh,
with
the
Dave
ugh.
Matthews Band, so
Did you keep it strict to Dave Matthews Band, or did you float around and listen to all
I
kinds of
float
things?
around a lot. My
Yeah,
parents really had, and still do, have a heavy influence on my music taste. I mean, I've always been a huge Beatles fan too. I mean, but I also have a younger sibling, so I would hear NSYNC through
right.
her. I would hear Backstreet Boys through her, Britney Spears, things like that. I
Yeah.
didn't hate it. It just wasn't going to be my first choice.
No,
So,
I mean, it was all around you whether you liked it or
right,
not.
right, yeah. So
So what does the future look like? And first of all, I think everyone that's listening to this, including me, I'm here. What in the world did you do at Disney? Tell me, I don't hear this very often. So how do you just apply to do that? And
so back
what was it
then
just for fun?
yeah, yeah, it was an internship for college, and I had known my boss did it in high school, so I was like, I wanted to do
Uh-huh.
it, I just wanted to do it. So back then, they used to come to colleges and recruit kids to work down there, and
No
you were
way.
paid so little, but it was so much fun. But I worked at Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the game show.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So yeah,
What?
it used to film at the Disney MGM studio, so I got to work there. Like 2 weeks after I got there, September 11th happened. So it
Oh
was
my
like
goodness.
everything kinda shut down.
Yes,
So
yes.
we were there, but, like, the parks were closing at, like, 5 o'clock at night. I had never really been away from my
Mhm.
parents before, so it was just a really interesting time. When I listened to Every Day, like, especially The Space Between or So Right, like those songs were really heavily played on my college program. Like when I hear those songs,
Mm.
it takes me back to that time and what we were going through. And that album was very popular amongst my friends and I down there. And it's something that I always hold dear is because of that time in my life was it was crazy. No pun intended, but we
Yeah, no, I get
being
it.
away,
That whole time
yeah, that
frame.
whole time frame. And then my internship ended and I moved back to New York, back to college in Western New York, and continued to go see concerts. And then finished school in '04, moved back to Binghamton. I don't live too far from Scranton, so that was always an annual stop for
Oh,
them. So every
yeah.
year I would see them in Montage Mountain up until 2009, 2010. And then I decided at that time that I was going to go back to school. And so I
Oh, wow.
went like full throttle because what I went to school for, there was no electives. It was all core classes and you were in clinicals all day. So, and when you
Wow.
weren't in clinicals, you were expected to be working in your field. So from
Mhm.
2010 through like 2017, I went back to school. I got 3 degrees in 6 years, had a baby, well, got married, had a baby, and then graduated and then went right into the field. And so that whole time
Holy
I
moly.
didn't see any concerts.
Of
I
course.
it was
Of
everything was on the
course. You
back
didn't have
burner.
time.
But like they were
Yes.
still there for me, but I
Mhm.
couldn't go see them.
No.
And then right when I was about to start go see them again, COVID happens.
Oh
So,
my
yep,
goodness.
and then during COVID, I was working in the hospital setting, and I started to get sick, and it started as just feeling, like, kinda short of breath and thinking, like, "Maybe I should, watch what I'm eating or go work out more." And I started to notice that, like, walking on flat surfaces, I was getting really short of breath. And I do therapy with my patients, and I was struggling to get through an hour-long therapy session. And I was not exerting myself at all. And I was like, man, why
Right.
can't I breathe? Like, what the heck is going on? And so I started to spike these really high fevers of unknown origin. And they just kept saying, you must have COVID, you must have COVID. And it was early COVID. So they
Okay.
weren't testing here yet. We were waiting to get tests, but the 10
What's the time frame? I just have to know. My
so
nursing brain has
yes,
to know, like,
yes.
where we were.
So started getting short of breath summer of 19, but didn't really get bad until summer of 20. So COVID hit in March of 20, and then
Yeah.
around, like, July, August of 20, I really started to struggle with breathing, and I was getting
Okay.
these super high fevers. Started to also notice, like, an audible dripping sound in my chest, and I would go to my doctor, and it wouldn't do it when I was there, and
Of course not.
my O2 sats would be perfect, and they're
Of
like, "I
course.
think you might just be anxious, everybody's kinda scared right now
Yeah.
and having" like, there's
Yes.
some
And it sounds like that, right? So, of course, you were probably like, "Yes, yes," but also the dripping sound is not a sign of anxiety.
no, and neither are really high fevers, and
No, not at all.
I'm a therapist, and I know what anxiety is. Well,
Yes, of course.
yeah, so, finally, in September of 20, I ended a therapy session, went back to my office, called my boss, and I was like, "I have to go. I need to go to the emergency room right now. I cannot breathe." So I go to the emergency room, same emergency room I used to work in. The doctors are like, "Beck, okay, hi, you're back again." Yeah, I'm back. Did an EKG, everything looked fine. Again, O2 stats look fine. And the doctor who I was friends with, he's like, "Has anybody ever done a CT scan on you anytime?" And I said, "No, nobody's done a CT scan. You guys keep doing x-rays, you keep doing EKGs, everything looks beautiful." So they do the CT scan. And when you work in the hospital, like you start hearing things paged overhead, you know who they're paging and what's going on. And I'm sitting here and I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, like, all right, what? Okay. I'm hearing like thoracic surgery, pulmonology.
Holy
I'm like,
shit, and you're like, "That's me.
well, I
No,
didn't know,
God."
yeah, like, I wasn't connecting 2 and 2, and then one of the ER
Yeah.
techs who was my friend came in the room, and he starts putting me on O2, and I was like, what's going on? Like, why do I need this? And he's like, has the doctor been in to see you yet? And I said, no. And he's like, all right, he'll be in to see you. So the doctor comes in, who's my friend, and he's like, all right, so I got good news and bad news. He's like, what do you want first? And I was like, good news? And he's like, well, the good news is you're not crazy. And I was like, okay. And he goes,
Well,
bad
thank you.
news is you have a pneumothorax. And he's like, girl, what did you do? And I said,
What?
yeah. And I was like, I didn't,
Okay, for anyone that's
yeah,
listening, explain what that is, because
my
we
lung
explain what
collapsed.
that is for
Yeah,
everyone.
my lung collapsed. So he goes, what did you do? And I said, nothing. And he goes, you haven't been in a car accident? Like you haven't fallen? Nobody shoved you? I'm like, no, no. Like I said, I can't breathe and I can't breathe for a while. And he's like, all right, well, I didn't need a chest tube at the time, but I needed oxygen. So they sent me upstairs for a week on O2 and continuously monitored with x-rays. And I met with pulmonology for the first time. And I said, is this something that could be genetic? And they said, why would you ask that? And I said, well, my mom gets pneumothoraxes and my grandfather has had a couple. And they said, well, there are a couple things that could cause a genetic pneumothorax, but you're like a young, healthy woman. You're not like an Eastern European, very thin, tall male. So I think this is just going to be a one off and we're going to get you good to go with the oxygen. It hasn't collapsed further. You should be fine. Okay. So after that week, went home, seemed okay. My lung reinflated. 3 weeks later, couldn't breathe again. Went back to the emergency room and they're like, well, you just had a collapsed lung. So there's no way like it could have happened again. You're probably just having like a pleural effusion or something. They didn't want to do more radiology because they had just done radiology, but they said, do your lungs normally sound diminished? I go, I don't know what diminished means. And they said, well, let's just send you for another CT scan. My lung had completely collapsed. So the first one was a minor collapse. This time was a big one. So I got transferred to another hospital because they don't have thoracic surgery at the hospital I went to.
Holy shit.
And they did a chest tube. And the thoracic surgeon said, your lungs are full of blebs and cysts. And he goes, if I don't go in and operate, this is going to keep on happening. And I said, like, what do you mean, like, operate? And he's like, well, I want to do a special kind of surgery that will strip the lung lining of these blebs and cysts. And then we'll tack your lung to your chest wall and your diaphragm so it won't keep happening. And I said, no, I'm good. I'll just take the chest tube.
Yeah.
Like, the chest tube was enough.
Wow. That sounds horrible.
So he goes, if it happens again, you're going to the OR. He said, okay. So I was hospitalized for like 5 days and then I went home. Chest tube came out. I stayed home on light duty from work. And then that was Halloween of 2000. By Christmas, it happened again. Same lung.
Well, back up right quick. And you just
Yeah.
got me fascinated with the whole chest tube
Yep.
thing. I have never had one, but of course, seen them.
Yeah.
If someone's listening, I want you to explain because it is not a little thing.
No.
It's a big deal. So explain to me like what they told you, how it went, and then having it removed and all of that fun
So
information because
I had
it's not easy.
worked in the ER for years, but I'm a social worker. So I mean, I know what it sounds like when someone's getting one, and my mom had told me what it felt like when you get it. But honestly, like with how many medical advancements we've had throughout the years with many different types of surgery or equipment, the one that really has not had any change is a chest tube. It is
I think we're
barbaric.
still using the big glass bottles to drain it in
Yep.
too.
Yep.
It's wild, but hey,
So,
it's working.
yeah, so they didn't give me ketamine or anything for it. Like I raw dogged a chest tube, like 15 vial.
So they cut you open
Yeah, and then
and they
they
stick a
start with the
tube.
small needle, and then they get bigger and bigger, and then eventually it's about this big, the one that's going into you. So, but I felt everything. The lidocaine didn't even touch it. Like I felt everything.
Did they say that you had to do it that
Yeah,
way or was
it was either gonna be do that or go right to the OR and get major, major surgery, and I wasn't prepared for that, and I
okay.
didn't
Okay.
understand what was going on at the time.
Sure.
I really thought this would be a one and done.
Sure, of course.
So I had the chest tube, had my little friend with me I was in the ICU for 2 days and then got moved to a step down on a floor, and this is all during COVID. So no visitors, no family, like, you're completely alone because
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of
yeah,
that, of
no, like,
course.
you can't have
It's
any
terrible on top of
yeah.
terrible.
So I was, like, FaceTiming people. That was the first one. So then that was Halloween of 20.
Okay.
Surgeon said, "This is going to keep happening," and I really didn't think it was going to. I was like, "Nope, this will fix me. We are good to go." By Christmas, it happened again. And so when I went back to the ER, he kinda chuckled. He's like, "I told you this was gonna happen." And I was like, "Yep." He goes, "You're not going home." He goes, "I can't discharge you." He goes, "You have to go to the OR." And I was like, "Fine, I'll do it." So I didn't know what I was in for. They tried to do it laparoscopically, and
Mhm.
they couldn't. The way my anatomy is, my lungs sit very high up into the back of my chest wall, so they did a thoracotomy. What, like, should have been, like, a 2-hour surgery turned into, like, a 7-hour surgery.
My God.
But what they did is a procedure called a mechanical pleurodesis. So what they do is they open up the lung lining and they scrape it out, the part that is, like, full of blebs to try to get as many blebs out as they can. And then they did what is called a wedge resection. So they removed the part of the lung that had the most blebs, and then
Uh-huh.
they tacked it to my chest wall and my diaphragm to hold it up because, like, with that surgery, it's meant to be like when you have a heart valve replacement. It's like car parts. It's gonna hold you over until you need it again. So, I
Yeah.
had that done in January of 21, and it was successful. I mean, I had some complications afterwards, like a couple pleural effusions and stuff, but I did okay. And then right around, September of 21, my right lung blew. So, they did everything. He goes, "We're not gonna even do chest tubes, like, we're going right in, and we're gonna get this taken care of on the right side." So, they did the same thing on the right side. We didn't mess around
Oh
with,
my
like, having
God.
that happen every month and stuff. So, I had the bilateral mechanical pleurodesis with wedge resection, and then I also had a partial lobectomy on the right lung because that one was way worse than the left lung. So that by the time I started feeling better, COVID ends and we're doing good. I get back to work and I decide like, okay, I feel good now. I'm stable. I want to get back to doing things like that are really important. Like I need good self-care. Like it's, what we
Mhm.
always stress in the mental health field. And like I knew not that I wasn't capable of doing it, but like I had been full throttle since 2010 with school and mom and job and everything. And I was like, I need to do for me. And so
Yes.
I decided to, in November of 2023, I was like, I'm going to go to MSG. And I rejoined the warehouse because I had let my membership like go like years before.
I mean, you knew you couldn't go,
No,
so
no, I
yeah.
was like, "There's no point, like, it's
Yeah.
a tease." So I hopped on the warehouse the week of MSG, and I was like, "God, everybody's gonna look at me like I'm an idiot, I'm brand new again," even though I
Oh,
wasn't, and, I just said, "You know what? I'm gonna get tickets, I'm gonna book a room," and I drove down and saw night 2. I was kicking myself for not going to night 1 because I'm a huge Tedeschi Trucks fan, and Derek and Susan came out for night 1,
yes.
and, went to night 2, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm back." Like, I hadn't seen them since Boyd left. So, it
Wow.
was, like, one of the last shows I attended was shortly before Leroy, was done, and so I hadn't seen them since Boyd left. I had never seen, well, no, I had seen Jeff, but I hadn't really seen Rashawn.
Uh-huh.
I had never seen Buddy, so it was all new for me to experience. I was like,
It
"This is almost like a
was.
whole new band to me and a whole new
Exactly.
experience," and, hearing so many of the songs live for the first time, in person. I mean, I had heard them on albums because I never stopped
Sure.
listening, I just hadn't been there in
Yeah.
person. And then, so I saw them at Madison Square in
Right.
'23, and then last summer, as I was getting ready to, like, head into summer tour, they found endometrial tissue in my lungs, so I had to have an emergency hysterectomy. So my whole summer was gone, and I was like, "All right, here we go again, we're back to fall." Went to
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah, went
Becky, it's just so
it
much.
is,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
but it's like I'm here, and
Yes, you
I'm
are.
stable, and I'm healthy, and I'm gonna
Yes.
do what I can while I can, and,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
so I went to Madison Square last fall, and then I lucked out and got warehouse tickets for Soulshine the next night,
Yeah.
so I got to do Soulshine, and then, like, bummed for a few months because there was nothing, there's no concerts
I
lined up or
know.
anything.
It's like right
Yeah,
now where
I
we're
know.
like,
I'm like, 'cause
there's nothing going
yeah,
on and it feels weird.
no, I can't. So one of the things is with my lung condition, I can't fly. So I can only fly like 2 hours and I can't do multiple planes in a day and I can't do like layovers and stuff. Everything has to be a direct flight.
Right.
So I'm like, I'll probably never see the gorge or the Sphere or anything. But this summer when I bought my tickets for summer tour, I was like, oh my gosh, they're coming to Syracuse because they hadn't come to Syracuse in quite a few years. So I did Bethel, which opened the tour, and it
Yes.
was so cold. It was so cold.
Oh, I heard.
It was brutal. It was May, almost Memorial Day weekend, and we were in winter coats and hats and boots.
Isn't that wild?
It was crazy, absolutely crazy. And then, I was like, "All right, well, then I'll do Syracuse too." So I bought Bethel. I wasn't supposed to go to, but I was supposed to see Tedeschi Trucks at the Beacon that night. And there was the New Jersey transit strike, and I chickened out because I'm too scared to drive in Manhattan, and all the trains had shut down. So I was like, all right, I'm going to sell my Beacon tickets, and then I'll get Bethel tickets. So I sold my Tedeschi Truck tickets, bought Bethel tickets, went to Bethel. Then the following week, I went to Syracuse, and I was like, all right, that's it. Like that was my Dave tour. And then the morning of SPAC, I was like, you know what? I haven't been to SPAC in like 20 years. And I'm like, why not hop on
I
Warehouse?
mean, it's in your
Yeah,
state.
it is. It is. And I couldn't get SPAC tickets. I was like, oh my gosh, like everybody was fighting for SPAC tickets,
Of
especially night two.
course.
And so
Yeah.
I was on Warehouse and this guy posted and he said, "All right, I have 2 tickets, but I'm gonna do something different." He goes, "I'm gonna post them, and I'm gonna give everybody till 3 o'clock to just say, 'I want them.' And then from everybody who says they want them, I'll just pick someone at random." And he picked me, and I was like, "Holy crap." Yeah,
What?
yeah. So I got to go to SPAC, and, then after SPAC, I was at work, and I had thought about going to Camden, but I was like, "No, there's no way I can pull Camden off." And I had looked at my
How far is that for you?
Camden's 3
Like
hours,
to
like
drive?
3 and a half
Okay. Okay.
hours, but you
Okay.
gotta drive through Philly, and that's intimidating to me. So I was at work, and I happened to look at my Hilton app, and I had been watching the rooms in Camden for a while, and that's why I talked
Yeah.
myself out of it because I was like, "These rooms are like 5, 6, $700 for one night." I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that." I'm
Nope.
like, "Those are
Yeah.
Disney rates. Nope."
Yeah. Yep.
I woke up the morning of Camden night 1, which was a Friday, and I looked on my Hilton app, and the rooms at Penn's Landing were only 200 and I was like, "What the heck?" And then I was like, "Maybe I could get a Camden night 1 ticket." And, I got on Warehouse, and I scored 1 pit ticket, and my friends were gonna be there. Like, made friends now,
Yes.
so my friends were gonna
We'll talk about
yeah.
I wanna talk all about that yeah.
So I was still packed from SPAC the week before. I hadn't even unpacked yet, so I just ran home, grabbed my suitcase, got right on the road, drove down to Camden, didn't even know, like, what I was doing. Like, completely I hate tunnels. I completely forgot about the Lehigh Tunnel. I'm driving and I'm like, "Oh my god, the tunnel!" Like, I'm all alone.
How long is it?
It's not that long, but, like,
No,
it's
I
just
yeah.
in the
It's
dark
weird.
and, like, it's
Yeah.
one lane, but both side like, you're just, like, this close to
Ooh,
people yeah.
no.
So, made it down there, drove through Philly, got down to Penn's Landing, had about an hour to spare before I had to get on the ferry to get over to Jersey, and then had my first pit experience with Camden Night 1, but then I had to work. So, the next morning, I thought about calling in sick, but I got back on the road.
Oh my god. So Camden Pit.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, from what I remember, it's pretty big, right?
I mean, I don't really have anything to compare it to just from seeing other
I feel
pits
like
and,
it was,
it's a pretty big pit.
but I don't know
It's
yeah.
deep, like, it feels, like, deep and wide. It's
Yes,
really
yes,
wide, and it was, like,
yes,
100
yes.
degrees. It was so
Holy
gross out.
shit. And how full was the pit? Was it, like, oversold? Were you, like,
I mean,
chest to chest, or did you have some
I didn't
room?
know what to think. So my friend Ellie, who I went and met up with, she kinda gave me the heads up, like, pit etiquette and, like, make friends with those around you and make sure people see you so they know that you, like, aren't just coming back and trying to steal someone's spot.
Right, right.
There were no bottles or cans allowed in the pit, so it was because we would, like, buy our drinks, and where I bought them at, they didn't ask you, like, where you were gonna be sitting, so I had, like, 2
Sure.
huge cans, and then as I went to enter the pit, they're like, "Nope, plastic cups," so you had to dump everything into these plastic cups that were huge. They were, like, this tall. So but I felt everybody was very respectful. I didn't know what I
Oh,
was gonna be
good.
walking into. I mean, I can only compare it with, like, other concerts where people are just jerks,
Right.
and
You just never know
no.
what you're gonna get. I mean, at all at any show, but especially the pit just because it is so compact, shall we say, as far as people inside that circle
Yeah,
or
no, I
whatever.
didn't
It can be
yeah.
super intense.
It only felt intense when I turned around, because I guess I was more towards, like, the middle of the pit, and, like, when I would turn around to try to, like, walk out to, like, go get a drink or use the restroom, but other than that, I didn't like, I felt very safe. I didn't feel intimidated or
Good,
scared or anything. Everybody was super respectful, and, like, we
good,
all were taking care of each other with fans and, making sure everybody was hydrating, and it was
good.
I felt it was a great experience. I don't think I could handle it more than 1 night in a row just because, like, it's a lot. Like, I need a
It's
seat.
a lot, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I know I'm the same way. I'm like, "I need a backup seat
Mhm.
just in case."
Yeah.
I've just reached that time in my life where a seat is very nice to have for just in case.
Yeah, yeah. No, I did 2 nights on the rail at Tedeschi Trucks last fall at the Capitol, and I was like, "Man, I'm not cut out for this life anymore." Like, I
Wow,
just
it's
yeah,
hard. It is really hard, and we are not I mean, not that there aren't 20-year-olds there, but it was
but
just a different
yeah,
that was just a different body that we had at 20 versus this age, and
yeah.
you were newish, like, your body was new and you could just
No.
stand there, but it's so tough
Yeah.
now, and it's funny to watch, but yeah, terrible also because there are also so many people that do get dehydrated, and the heat can be so intense when it's 100 degrees outside and you're very small quarters with, hundreds of people.
Yeah.
That can be a lot. But I love the lawn. I love seats depending on who I'm next to. Because if you're next to someone that's just not into it,
No, and
then that
that's a big thing because like when I either go with people or meet people, I'm like, "All right, now, like, I'm not a snob, but, like, how big of a fan are you?" Because, like, you gotta understand, I'm probably gonna be crying and dancing, and there's gonna be a lot of emotions here this evening, and if
you're
you're just
pulling out the therapist on them. You're like,
yeah,
are you mentally prepared
yeah,
for what is about to happen to me?
like, you think you know me, but you don't know me.
Not until you take me to a
Yeah,
Dave Matthews Band
yeah,
concert. And there is all that, and it feels so good when you can respond that way to music or hell, to anything, to just, like, let your guard down and feel whatever your feelings are.
yeah, I
That will refill you and make you go back to work and make you get back to your kiddo and your busy life and just say, "Okay, I got a full tank right now."
no, I had, SPAC night too was huge for me because when I had my surgeries, part of the way that they would, like, help people feel more at ease because of COVID and everything is they said, "What music do you wanna hear in the operating room?" So as you're going under and you're coming out, at least, like, you have something of comfort for you, and I said, "Well, like, if
Mhm.
you could play, like, the Beatles and Dave Matthews Band, like, that would be really good for me." And, um going into surgery, like, I had had, like, my wisdom teeth out and stuff, but I had never been through anything like this before. So
Yeah.
when, like, when they go to do your arterial lines, like, they start to make you sleepy before you even hit the OR. So, like, I remember, like, them taking me to the OR, and I remember getting into the OR and hearing Dave Matthews playing, and I was, like, trying to sing along with it, and so, like, "You're a mess, like, you're not" no.
Yeah.
And, but I remember coming out of my first surgery, and, I mean, I obviously was out way before I realized I was out of it, but the song that was playing was Pig, and
Oh, wow.
I had never heard Pig live, and it's always been one of my absolute favorite songs by them, and so I've been chasing it since I started going back in '23, and last summer, it was, like, the big summer for Pig, it was always PNP Pig, PNP Pig, and I would see it, tease, and I'm like, "Oh my god, they're so lucky, like, I wish I was at that show." I went to Bethel, no Pig. Went to Syracuse, no Pig. And I think it was right after Syracuse he played it for the first time this tour, and I was like, "Gosh darn it." And,
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to
so
be
I know.
me.
And so, I was at SPAC, and at one point I got really tired at SPAC, and I started to sit, and I forget what he played before. I'd have to look up the set list, but he played something right before Pig, and I was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna sit down." Um, and then all of a sudden I heard the little, like, cough thing that he does in the beginning of and I lost it. I lost
Yes. What is
absolutely.
that? Like, it's like, "Hup,
Yeah, it's like,
hup." Like, what
yeah,
is he
yeah,
it sounds like he's, like, picking up something heavy, like,
game over.
whatever it is
Yeah,
for
game
it. And I bet you lost it just with that sound. You were like,
game
what were your feelings?
crying, sobbing mess. All my makeup gone. That I had been just waiting to hear that forever because it kinda has become, I mean, not like my theme song or whatnot, but, like, it kind of encapsulates, like, how I feel before my diagnosis versus after my diagnosis. I had gone through a lot and, like, yes, everybody loves Gray Street and everybody can identify with Gray Street and stuff, and, like, yeah, me too. But, like, Pig is so much deeper for me in that aspect, and so when I finally got to hear it after chasing it forever, crying, sobbing,
Wow.
yeah,
I'm
and
so glad you got it. I mean,
same, like,
you
that's a
needed
core
it. You were able
I
to let
did.
so much go.
Yeah, it was an absolute core memory for me. I was really scared I was gonna get it at Camden again because I'm like, I don't ever want, like, it's so special to me in that moment. Like, I know I'll get it again, but it's never gonna
Of
be like
course.
the first time I heard it. And
Right.
so when I was at Camden, I was really scared he was gonna play it again. I was like, "I'm not ready to hear that again another week later." But what he did play at Camden that I had been chasing since the first time I heard it in 2001 was So Right. And like, just standing there and looking around and seeing everybody screaming to it, and my friend took a video of it, and I posted it on my Instagram, and I'm like, "This is what it's about." Like, I don't
Mm.
have friends back home that really like them, and so to be around and meet other people, and it was really great too because when I was in college, I forgot to tell you this, I was in a Dave Matthews tribute band, and so we
You were
yeah,
in a band?
yeah, yep, I was their
What? It's a
yeah.
whole different what?
Sorry. I totally forgot about that.
It's a twist.
Yeah.
I
Um,
love it though.
I was their lovely lady. So if anybody was living in, like, the Buffalo, Rochester, Scranton, PA, Cleveland, Ohio, Binghamton, New York, and then Massachusetts. So we used to tour around mainly those states because we were college kids, but we were uh, originally called the Dreaming Tree, and then we became the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. They still tour, just none of us are with them. But I was able to reunite with one of my former bandmates at SPAC, who I hadn't seen in at least well, it had been about 10 years since I saw him, but we hadn't played together since 2005. So 20 years.
Wow.
But yeah, because of that, like, I was able to meet friends, and then just I've met friends through tailgating through the years and then through social media. So social media for this band has been absolutely huge because I felt so alone for so many years. And
Mhm.
now seeing people on Instagram and Facebook and through the hub and through Warehouse and meeting people that I actually have things in common with
Right.
'cause, yeah, none of my friends like them. So
We feel you.
yeah.
I know I feel you. I know that some of the listeners totally can identify with that. It's so weird. Like, why do more people not join in on this? Because, and it's not for everybody. I get that. But more than anything, I find in my hometown that when people hear that, I have a podcast or whatever, and then I go to a lot of Dave shows, they're like, what the hell do you like about them? Like,
Yeah.
he sings like a screeching whatever. And I'm like, okay, you've not heard them lately.
No.
And
Or
you're
or
also haven't
live.
done your homework.
Right, yeah.
I'm
Or
like, okay,
okay, so or even look beyond Dave and realize the incredible musicianship that is in this band,
yeah,
like, a lot of people, when they think of this band, I always compare it to, like, when they would do Celebrity Jeopardy on SNL and Jimmy Fallon
uh-huh.
would play Dave, and, like,
Yes.
that's what they think they're gonna hear, and I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 no,
Yes.
no, no."
No. No. I mean, I get it. I see I know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
right? I know what they're talking about, but also it tells me right away that their discount of this band is it's not a discount because they don't know what they're talking about,
No.
and that's okay,
Yeah.
and that's okay, but it tells me right then, you haven't done your research, which I don't expect a lot of people to have done their research on this band, but also, yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's been around forever. You should just know that they're still making
Yep.
music. So many people say the band from the '90s. I'm like, well, okay, yes, they started then,
Right.
but, like, they legitimately never stopped.
No. No.
So, how have you missed out on this?
No, they've pretty much stopped. Maybe I'll give them credit and say they could have listened up to Busted Stuff, but even that, I don't know. And I only give them credit thinking somebody would listen up to Busted Stuff because, like, Every Day was so popular on VH1, you know? Or, Where Are You Going? You know, like,
Right, right.
but no, like, when somebody's like, "Oh, yeah, like, they all think it sounds like Ants Marching," or I'm like, "No,
No,
no,
not at
no."
all, and live, it sounds so different, and, I mean, I love album versions, I love live I mean, there's not you cannot say anything about this band at any time that I'm like,
Yeah. No,
there's just not that's not in me
no.
because I can see the beauty from all angles, like, have they gotten better since 1991? Well, first of all, that's a really stupid
Yeah.
question. Have you gotten better since 1991? Hell yeah, you have. So it's the same thing, except these dudes never stopped practicing. They never stopped getting better. They never stopped studying. They
Nope.
never stopped getting with other people and like, collabing and like they've just never stopped. And so when you never stop learning and just like any other profession, if you just stay in the game and you work hard and you study and you continue to do it, you're more than likely going to be really good. And that's what this band has done is they've just not stopped. They've changed in their feel some, I'll say some
Right.
throughout the 34 years, but never in a bad way. It's
No.
just been so good.
They brought, like,
Every
their writing,
decade
like,
has been so
yeah,
good.
like, the writing has changed, they've developed more in their craft, they've brought in additional musicians and arrangements, and
Yes.
but the core is still there. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's gotten better. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, it's just gotten better. So when you heard that song, I know that was an emotional thing, and yes, you'll get it again, you will, but I understand why that one time was so important because it was on in the you said it was on in the room, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's the first thing I remember. So, like, when you come out of surgery and, like, they're starting to wake you up, but, like, you're not really awake
Right.
yet. So, it took me a long time to wake up, and so when I started coming out of it, like, my eyes were still closed, but they're like, "Okay, like, you're okay, you're gonna be heading upstairs soon and stuff," and that, like, I could just hear Pig playing, and, um in my surgery, they forgot to tape my eye, so I had scratched my cornea, so I couldn't open my eye. So yeah,
Girl.
it is not 0 stars, do not recommend. So
It's not funny. I'm not laughing
no,
because it's funny.
no.
I'm just laughing because what are the chances that all of this stuff could just happen?
Yeah,
You're so strong though to get through all of that
yeah,
and to get back out and travel because I'm sure that there, as anyone would have, just some fears, right? Like this has happened to me multiple times. I've had two major surgeries. I want to take care of my body. I want to be a mom forever,
yeah,
right? Like I want to be all of the things forever. But I'm thinking in my head, what more perfect of a song than Pig to Be On and how it's always one of my go-to songs. And I think a lot of people just because it reminds you over and over in that song, don't burn the
don't burn
day.
the day,
We
yeah,
are not promised tomorrow. We're not promised the next hour. And so don't burn the day. That song speaks, and I haven't met a person yet that doesn't love that song.
no, yeah,
So it's just the perfect song to wake up to, but also to hear after you got through it. And so it always will be a very special song to you. I love that. I love that for so many reasons because so many people love songs for different reasons. And that is your
yeah.
reason. And I can totally see it.
No, it was, definitely a core memory, like, I'm not one of those fans that's like, I can remember, like, this version from this date and, like, how long it
Oh,
went on for, like, I'll look back at my Hobbit, I'm like, "I heard that?" Like, I don't even remember like
For
from
real.
20 years ago, but, like, this one is a definite core memory. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
didn't think I was getting it that night. I was like, I think he had just played it. I forget where they were before SPAC. And, when you can get a feel for a set list and, like, as much as they aren't predictable, sometimes he can be a little predictable, and I was like,
Yeah, sometimes,
I was
yeah.
like, "We're kinda into the part of the set list where it starts to go into too much and Word Up and Anyone Seen the Bridge," and I was like, "He's not gonna throw this towards the end of the night," and then he did. And then he went right into Loving Wings, which I was like, "Oh my god."
Are you joking me?
No, it was
Are you
so
joking me?
good, so good. But
Who was around you at that moment? Did you have friends
I
around
had
you? Did
yeah,
you just
yeah,
have some
yeah,
yeah?
and my
Did they
cousin was there
understand
too.
what was going on?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've always warned anybody who comes with me, I was like, "If I hear pig, like, just let me go. Like, I'm okay. Like, I'm just warning
Mhm.
you that it's going to be a very emotional experience for me, especially, like, if you're not, like, as familiar with this band, like, it might be not scary, but, like, I'm not hurt. I'm like, I'm okay. It's just, like,
Yeah.
I just know if it ever happens, like, I'm not gonna look like I'm okay." Yeah,
I get that.
yeah,
I get that. But I know it must be weird for because obviously there's a lot of people at shows that have maybe never been to a show or it's been 20 years or whatever. And so to just see people break down crying, it's your natural thought process to just be like, oh, is she okay? You
yeah,
know? But if you've gone enough, you know that you'll see tears
yeah.
at every Dave Matthews Band show because this music really has gotten people through some shit. It has gotten you through some unbelievable things. I mean, as you're telling this story, I'm like, wow, this is really heavy, really heavy. And this music has just done this for so many people. It can't be discounted. And as a therapist, I know that you can definitely agree with that music is a therapy. It's a form of
Absolutely,
therapy and it can do
absolutely.
so much for us.
And when you think about it, like, I don't know how long you've been listening to them for, but I've grown up with this band. I mean, from middle
Yes,
school all the way I'm almost 44 years old, so that's
right.
more than half my
That's your
life.
whole life,
Three-quarters of
basically.
my life has been with this band, and
Yeah.
seeing them grow and change. I mean, I don't know them personally,
But what we
but
know of
right,
them, right.
right, and just, like, they are the soundtrack of my life,
Yes. Yes.
and
And
I'm
how I
sure
mean,
with
you can't
many
really say
other
that
people too.
about absolutely.
Yeah,
It is said all the time that it's the soundtrack of their life because it's been the one constant,
yeah,
you know? A lot of us have gone through living in a million houses, been through a million relationships or just problems, surgeries, whatever it is, but this has been a
mhm,
constant for 34 years in so many people's lives or for the last 10 years or whatever. And so, as a therapist, I know that maybe you haven't thought about this before, but I can't wait to hear your answer because I'm not a Debbie Downer. I'm a
mhm.
realist. I understand what the future looks like, and I have chosen to prepare my heart and mind and soul before that happens. What are your thoughts on what is and I always joke that I'm going to set up support groups. Maybe you can be in on that later because you've got the tools and resources to do that. But I just can't imagine a world when this all ends and we know it will, right? It's going to happen. But
It's
that's going to be so tough for
it's
so many
scary, like, there's
people.
a couple of things I'm going to have to prepare myself for. Number 1 before this is it's gonna be the death of Paul McCartney.
Mm, yeah.
I'm not
How
prepared.
old is he now?
He, I think, just turned 84.
Okay.
Yeah, still touring, trying to get tickets to Buffalo if anybody sees
What a
this.
badass, right? Oh my gosh.
That will be the first thing I have to prepare myself for, and then the second is when this band decides to hang it up, and it's terrifying
Yeah.
to me because Carter is only 1 year younger than my father. My father just
Mhm.
retired last year. Um, I'm hoping that these guys have the stamina of Keith Richards and Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams. If you keep going, I'll keep coming, like, you
Yes.
know,
That's a promise, and we'll sign a contract. We will
I'll
keep coming to your shows.
yes, but I don't know if that's the life they want forever,
Of
I mean,
course, and there is that other side of
yes,
the story of,
yes,
what are their wishes and dreams?
right,
Obviously, we know they're happy or they wouldn't continue, but there are things to come, right? Like, Graham being a being a grandparent,
Mhm.
which has already happened, but like wanting to spend that quality time with your kids when they get married and just all of those things that are yet to come that they haven't quite hit yet.
Right.
And we know that's going to have to make a change in their life. And we're so happy for them. So happy for them.
Yes.
This is just great. What are we going to do? And yes, we've always got the music. It's recorded. We can
Right.
always go back to that. And I'm so thankful for that. But what I worry about is the community, because that's something I want to talk to you about before we end this episode.
Sure.
The community of fans that is around this band, it's something that I have just found within the last 8-10 years.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people know about it if you just hit the show and leave and hit the show and leave. And if you're not involved on social media, and that's totally fine. It's still a great fan life.
And that's where I was
Community.
before. I would like this was before Facebook and Instagram and stuff.
Right.
Pre-shows, I've met a couple people in the parking lot, but like there's only like one person that I kept in contact with from that. And now I'm meeting like newer people, like meeting people through the warehouse and meeting people on Instagram. I just met a couple people in the pit at Camden, and it's like
Yeah.
it's cool to meet people that are as I know I'm passionate, they're way more passionate. Okay, like they've never stopped going, or like
There's so many levels.
yeah, like their show numbers are in the hundreds where I haven't even
Yeah.
hit 50 shows yet. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
had I not stopped going for a long time, I'd be right there with them, but life
Sure.
happens.
Yes.
But it's the camaraderie and the people who just get you, and like you can, text them like morning of, be like, "Wanna go hit up a show?" And they're like, "Okay,"
Yeah, yeah.
I have adult
Yes.
money now. I don't have to worry about my parents.
Your parents didn't have to like switch out your allowance to
No,
tickets.
I have adult money now.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really do anything else for myself, so this is,
Right. This is your sports
Mhm,
team
it
too, right?
is.
Like this
Yeah,
is your
yeah.
passion. And I just feel
Mhm,
like that's an okay thing because it does so much for your spirit and your soul and your mind and your heart and your lungs, right? It's just
mhm.
doing so much for you.
Well, and I think it's funny too because like so people who don't listen to them, like a couple of my coworkers are like, "You're going to see them again. Like, didn't you just see them?" I'm like,
Right.
"You don't gotta like never play the
No,
same
like
set list twice. Like it's my therapy. It's that's where I'm me. Like yeah, I'm a mom, and I'm
yes.
but this is a different me. Like this is
Right.
I mean, I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm not in my 20s, but like
This
this
is just
is yeah,
Becky.
this is
Just
yeah.
Becky, not mom, not
No,
anything,
no,
not
yeah,
anything. This is just
yeah,
Becky. It feels good to do that,
yeah. It
right? Like
does. Yeah.
I'm no one except myself. I don't think about work. I don't think about any bill. Like I don't think
Mhm.
about all the things that get in the way and kind of can like disturb our thoughts a little bit. Just be
No.
you. You're automatically having connections with the people because guess what? You've got something in common automatically with every single person there.
Right, and I
And
don't
that's
have to
their love for
explain
this
anything
music.
to them. Like
No,
they get it.
they get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just been such a big part of my journey. And that's what I worry about the most, is just like, will we have these opportunities? Will we continue to meet up? Will we continue to have these things where we can talk about our memories? Because it takes up so much of my life and those are my friends.
Same.
I have met so many of my core to on a daily, on a weekly or whatever that I've met because of this band. What happens? I mean, we're in control of that and yes, we can still do things, but Dave is the only time I see them. So
Right.
what happens when there's no
I
Dave?
know.
That wakes me up in the middle of the night. No, it doesn't literally, but like I think about those things and I'm like, okay, girl, you need to enjoy every single second. Don't burn the day, right?
Don't.
Don't burn the day.
Don't.
You need to enjoy exactly where you are every single day and be so thankful for the things we think are coming up next because one day it just won't happen anymore.
No, like I'm so anxious because this is the first year in well, only 2 years now, but still, I don't think there's a fall tour. It's like
No, I don't think there is.
and I'm like, when am I gonna see
What are we going to
yeah,
do?
what am I gonna do? Like
What are we going to
I'm gonna
do?
go see Jeff in December. He's gonna be in Ithaca, but it's not the same. Like, and I go see
It's
Tedeschi Trucks
not.
a lot, but it's not the same fan base.
I get that.
But
I
it's
get that. And
yeah.
you know what? I have a recommendation for you that's near and dear to your
Yeah.
heart. Of course, and I can't even believe that this happened in this episode. So you're like one of the core starting members of the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. I don't know if you know this, but I work very very closely with the current Dave Matthews Tribute
So
Band. They
they're
have
the
a
ones
commercial that's interludes.
are they the ones that are down So Ryan Clifford.
So they're from Buffalo.
Yes. So, okay. So do you know Ryan Clifford?
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
he's not in there now, but he
Right.
was, yes.
Yes. So that's how I got into it, was through Ryan Clifford.
No
Yes.
way.
So
He can play the fiddle like nobody's
he didn't
business.
start playing the fiddle. He was our Dave. He played guitar and he sang.
What?
Yeah, yeah. He did not play the
So
fiddle.
talented.
So I met him, and Ryan Puckhaver. So I don't know if you know Ryan Puckhaver. He started the band. So they
Gotcha.
started in Buffalo in 2001, and I met them on my 21st birthday party in 2003. They played my hometown, and then they found out I sing, so they brought me on after that to sing for them. And so Ryan ended up moving away, and that's kind of when the upper band kind of went to the wayside. And then Ryan moved down to Nashville and Chattanooga, and he brought it down there, and they got signed by a company that manages tribute bands. So there was like a Prince tribute band, a
Uh-huh.
Dave Matthews tribute band, and they would get hired to go play across the country. But Ryan did not start out playing fiddle. He was our Dave. Eric Osberg was our fiddle
No
player,
way.
and Eric used to sit in with them sometimes. And I think Eric lives in Arkansas now.
Hey,
Yeah.
shout out
Yeah,
Arkansas.
Eric
I need to
Osberg.
meet Eric. He's here in my state. I need to know
He
him.
plays with the Lead Pipe Conservatory Band, and then he also does a different Dave Matthews tribute band sometimes down there. And then Ryan Puckhaver
No
still does the
way.
one out of Buffalo. Yeah, but I
Well,
just
whoever the Arkansas guy
yeah.
is, you need to like send him a message after we record this and be like, "Hey, there's a girl in Arkansas that says she needs to know
Yeah,
you."
no,
And
no.
that'll be completely a weird text for him to get. But hey, it's Dave, right? We have a
Yeah, no,
connection. We have a
I was
connection.
actually lucky to see Ryan at SPAC. I hadn't seen him in so long. And I had posted on my Instagram a picture of us one of the last times I saw them, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like we've all grown up." I mean, we used to sleep in the nastiest
Yeah.
hotels together and all pile into a U-Haul to go from gig to gig. But yeah,
But how cool,
it was
right?
so much
How
fun.
cool
It
was
was so much
that?
fun. But yeah,
I mean, it's singing the music that you love, two people that love the music. I mean, there's nothing bad
no, and
there.
it was so
And
much fun.
I bet. I can't imagine. So I work very closely with the current band. I know they've just released their fall schedule.
Mhm.
So if you've never heard of the Dave Matthews Tribute Band, it is simply like as a website, so super easy. They're all over Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're on, they are on. They have a website as well. But here's what you need to know about this tribute band. So this tribute band now, and I can't speak for your time, but
Mhm.
now they really do pay tribute to the beginning sounds
Yes.
of Dave Matthews Band. So if you go see them, you're not going to hear what the band sounds like now.
No.
You're going to hear somewhere between 92, 93, and maybe 99, 2000. That's really as far as they go, but they do have the fiddle. They have all the old sounds, and these guys are tearing it up. They're so, so good. I've never heard any complaints. So definitely check them out. If you're listening to this or watching this, check them out because that will give you something to do in the fall. And they realize that Dave is probably not touring this fall, and so they're so excited.
Yeah.
They're so excited because they're like, "Yay, like we're going to have new people that will come and get their Dave, from us." And so definitely check them out.
Yeah.
That's something to do this fall, right?
If
It's something
they come
more
near me. I think they played the Cap, not they played the Capitol Theater, I think, Garcia's, which is like a club. It was Jerry Garcia's favorite theater to play in. So
Oh,
they have a
wow.
lounge off to the side of the Capitol Theater called Garcia's, and I'm pretty sure they just recently played there. That's like 2.5 hours from my house. But no, I
Wow.
laugh because like when I was with the band, I mean, we were only up to Busted Stuff, I think, at that time, and it
Right,
just
right.
always reminds me of like I think it's Step Brothers when there's that Billy Joel tribute band, and he's like, "We only play '90s Joel." We only play '90s Dave.
It
Yeah,
is what it is, and
yeah.
so many people love that because they miss that sound. Maybe that's when they found the band, or they're just really into the sound because it does sound completely different,
No, yeah,
right?
because we
And
used
I
to,
love
like, have to get really creative because there was only a couple songs for the Lovely Ladies, so I would sing on, like, Best of What's Around, I would sing on Granny, I would sing on well, we used to sing True Reflections, so,
Yep.
yeah, like, the listener-supported version of True Reflections, so finding stuff for me to sing on too, so I wasn't just showing up to sing 1 or 2 songs, so
Right, right.
but
Make
no,
it worth your
it
while
was
for sure, even though I'm sure it was a ton of
oh
fun.
god,
Just
so much
even if you didn't
fun.
have anything to
Yeah.
sing, just
No.
watching them, watching the
Yeah.
crowd, all of it is so, so,
They were
so
like my
fun, right? Just to
brothers,
watch
so
people.
I was the only girl with them.
I bet.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this is so great. I'm so glad that that came up because that just, I mean, your story is an amazing story, number one, but that just like, there's some highlights and some lowlights, and there's like your story's up and
Mm,
down. And I love it so much that
thank
it
you.
closed out with the group that's near and dear to my heart and hearing their beginnings, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
everyone had a beginning and you are
Yeah.
it. You're literally the beginning.
Well, I came a
That's
little
so
bit later. I
crazy.
wasn't there from day 1, but I was there pretty
But
early.
soon
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Soon enough to be a lovely lady,
Yeah.
which is something I think that I would like to see every once in a while. And I say that because I want to be a lovely lady. You want to be a lovely lady. Like we're ready.
God.
Like Dave, you need some
I'm like,
background
"Hey hey,
vocals,
hey,
women. Okay,
Bob,
yes.
you can just throw me in. I know all the parts."
Do it. You need a job. Yeah. On the
Yeah.
side when
Yeah.
you have all this time,
Yeah.
of course you have all this time.
No.
Like why
I'm always
not go in a
available.
touring
Yeah.
band
Yeah.
again?
Yeah. But no.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So the last question is, and this is gonna be, gosh, I just can't even imagine what you're gonna say because of everything you've already said. But what is it that keeps you coming back for more? Why do you still strive to keep up with them, go when you can, and
Gosh, that's such a
yeah, what's the
oh my
reason?
gosh. I think it's euphoria and just like how I feel when I'm there. And, it's from going and then not going for so long and then going back again. It's like I didn't forget how it feels, but it's just different now. And it's like
Yeah,
you just realize like how precious time is and what we do with our time and how we take care of ourselves. And like, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but like, don't burn the day. Like, you only have so much time on this earth, and you might as
that's
well
right.
spend it doing what you love. And when you find something that you love and doesn't hurt you or harm others, what's the problem?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, that's a good reason, and your life, I feel like, is so intertwined with the music that it is just part of you. It is your soundtrack. It's just
Mm,
part of who Becky is, right?
yeah,
Like the real Becky. Not the hospital working, but not
yeah.
any
Mm,
none of that, but like just you
yeah.
with no other labels,
Mm-mm.
without all the labels, just Becky. And so I love that. And I mean, what a really cool thing to have that in your life, all of us, just something that's been so constant. I mean, it's really in my life, it's been the thing that's been around as a constant, only second to my parents.
Yeah, yeah, like
Only second to my
yeah,
parents.
I mean, when I look at what defines me through my life, it's been, of course, family, friends, but then Dave, Beatles, Disney, and now later Tedeschi Trucks. But like, it's really, I mean, it's been there since I was a teenager. So
Yeah, so wild. So
yeah,
wild to say, and
yeah.
I'm sure it must be wild for them to talk about it too, just that they've done this for so
Oh
long.
yeah, even longer than
I mean,
yeah.
I can't imagine a profession where I'm gonna do anything for 34 years. Not even one thing do I love that much, except,
No,
being a fan or whatever, but for them to do it for this long is wild and so exciting, but also I can't imagine just the toll it has to have on you in some way, shape, or form, just it's a hard life. I know the band life is a hard life, but we're so thankful that they do it and they seem very happy and very
thank you.
dedicated to the cause that they are always preaching about. And I love people that speak their mind. And Dave is just one of those guys that's going to tell you what he's feeling. Now, that might not be your feelings, and that's okay.
No, but
We don't have
I
to agree
it
with
is
anything they
I
say.
think it's nice to have somebody that does share, I mean, without even knowing your beliefs
Oh,
and
yeah, for
value,
sure. Yeah.
I mean, I won't name other bands or anything, but, this past year has been very rough for our country.
It
It's
has
almost 2
been
years now.
such a division.
So to have a band that shares your ideals and your personal beliefs and ethics and morals that
Yes.
from
Yes.
from day one, that you didn't have to
Yes.
switch up on or ever question or wonder, and yeah, it's nice.
It's really
Yeah.
good. It's really good. And I think that they speak to the masses, but there's always, a few that don't agree, but that should be a beautiful thing in general, just because we have the freedom to choose, and it's okay if we don't agree. However, just like Dave said not too long ago, why can't we just grab a cup of coffee and talk it out instead of just spreading hate immediately? No one can understand that. I can't understand that. I'm sure you cannot, and Dave cannot.
No,
How
and
can we talk out both sides of our mouth when we say that we want to spread love and kindness and we follow Dave Matthews Band, but all the while we're spreading hate? Those two things do not
no,
align.
I think he says it best when he says, "Be kind always, no matter." Yeah,
Always. No
no
matter.
matter.
And that doesn't mean that you have to, like, be in a relationship with
No.
someone, Like, you just have to be kind when you see them.
Mhm.
Smile. It's not hard to smile, and just keep on
Yeah,
walking. That's all you gotta
just leave
do.
people better
It's
than
not
you found them.
hard.
It's not hard.
Yes, yes, and so, if everybody could figure that out, it would be a better world, but, we love this time that we're alive. I always say there's never been a better time, and so we're so thankful to be living at the same time as Dave Matthews Band is still performing, and so thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Becky. I'm never prepared for these stories because, there is no pre-interview. I want it that way. I want all of it to be a surprise to me, but you've just as soon as we hang up, I'm just gonna go tell my husband, like, "You're not even gonna believe this, dude." It's your story's so good, but it is
Yeah,
also so hard, but the fact that you have found that silver lining and really held on to that, because you could be completely different. It could be the thing that took you down mentally and
yeah.
you never recovered,
No,
but
no.
you've allowed that not to happen, and you've taken care of yourself, and you know that that has to be something that we constantly do. So thank you so much for
Thank you for
sharing this
having
with
me.
everyone. I know that people will find parts of themselves in your story and in the pig song. So I'm just so excited for everyone to hear this. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Alright.
So, guys, if you're listening to this on a podcast app, just know that you can watch this. Everything is under the Space Between podcast on YouTube. So, definitely check it out. We have so many episodes coming up. The tour for 2025 is just it's almost to the end. And I don't even like to say that because, like we've already talked about in this episode, we know there's no fall tour. So, that just leads us up to a very interesting time of what are we going to be doing? What's going on in the fall. It's all going to be a surprise to us. And so I know the podcast is definitely going to try to keep you busy with what the fans are doing while Dave is not performing and what keeps us listening to the music at home and in our car and wherever we are. Sometimes when Dave comes on in the grocery store, I'm like, oh, did they know that I'm in the store? No one else is happy, but I'm like, oh, thank you. I feel so honored. But I can't wait to see what happens this fall. All good things, in this podcast world. If you want to be part of this story, definitely reach out to me on any of the social media platforms, or of course, you can email me. And the email's so easy, guys. You're going to remember it because you're listening to the Space Between podcast. It's Renae at the Space Between podcast, dmb.com. So you can email me that way and just go, hey, there's no expectations. You don't have to even have been to a live show. Anyone can come on the show as long as they love the band and love the music of Dave Matthews Band. So again, stay tuned. All good things to come. Becky, thank you so much again. And until the next time, guys, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.
Thank you.